Hi, I hope you all are doing great. Thanks for checking out this latest video forecast from the Convective Weather team. I'm forecasting Nathan Kitchens here. First off, I do want to mention I apologize for the lack of video updates here lately. Over the past week and a half, I had my midterms for my college courses, and right after my midterms, I got down with strep throat, couldn't talk, I felt horrible, so unfortunately that kind of led to a time frame there for about a week and a half, 2 weeks, where there weren't much where there wasn't a whole lot of updating, and I apologize for that. And I'm doing my best to get back on tap here and posting these updates. I'll try to do one about every other day or so. I'll try my best to get that done from here on out. So just bear with me here. Thanks for checking out this latest forecast. We have a lot to track. We actually have some interesting weather setting up over the next week or more. It looks the pattern is finally waking up after that. These past few months have been rather boring. I know for all you weather enthusiasts out there, certainly exciting to see some more interesting weather showing up again. So let's start by just talking about the short term, what we have going on. We do have a very heavy rain threat going on right now across parts of the southern plains. Texas, look at all that rain here. We have high pressure out in the eastern, or really out across the western Atlantic, and that flow around the highs clockwise, bringing in a southerly flow here to Texas. We had this upper level low here across the southwest. We actually had some tornado warnings yesterday evening. I was tracking those here in parts of the southeast New Mexico and western the panhandle of Texas here. So it's pretty active weather across those areas. In the system, excuse me, I'm still getting a little over my cold, but I'm much better. So just bear with my cough here. Some heavy rain training here from central and western Texas up through central western Oklahoma, through Kansas, and back into Colorado this morning. Very heavy rain. This rain will expand northward here, heading in time later today, tonight, and we also have this front draped here. That's why you're seeing some of these showers across parts of Indiana and Ohio and Illinois. And that front will eventually kind of be the train tracks for that rain to push in, heading into the weekend. So let's model this out. We do have some. We're going to be I'm very concerned about the flooding potential with this system. We have various flash flood watches in the green. Red here meaning we have flood warnings, and flash flood warnings meaning flooding is either imminent or occurring. Also, before I get to the models and show you how things look to pan out over the next few days, we have Hurricane Patricia here in the out here just offshore Mexico here in the eastern Pacific. This morning, its winds are up to 90 miles per hour sustained, and it's going to strengthen rapidly. I think we're going to see a major hurricane by later tonight. You can see the National Hurricane Center thinks so by 1 a.m. Friday, has major hurricane status here. And heading into Friday during the day, and continues to maintain that major hurricane strength by early Saturday. It's making landfall here. Friday night and Saturday, that's when it's going to make landfall here across parts of New Mexico, specifically parts of Manzanilla and Puerto Vallarta. I hope I'm pronouncing those right. We have hurricane warnings in place. Going to be a pretty catastrophic event here. We're talking about some potential for some extremely heavy rain, of course, very high winds. Mudslides will be a big concern. We have the very mountainous terrain here. You get that wind on the windward side of the mountains there. You get that orographic uplift that will help to enhance that rainfall. You can get some even more rain than you would otherwise. Because of the orographic uplift, because of the mountains in place, you get the enhanced risk of mudslides because of the mountains. It can just create a lot of problems. So that's going to be something to watch. And because I show you this, not just specifically for Mexico, but for our interests as well here in the United States, this will have an impact on our weather. We're going to see this tropical moisture by 1 a.m. Sunday. Here we are as a tropical depression approaching parts of South Texas, and this is going to have an effect on our weather. This tropical moisture is going to help feed into the U.S. next week. This is going to be part of a crucial factor here with the system brewing for the middle part of next week that we're tracking. We're going to have this tropical moisture feeding in, combining with a northern branch jet stream, our system moving through across the northern branch of the jet stream, I should say. That's going to come together, potentially produce a healthy storm system across the Midwest and the eastern part of the U.S. for the middle of next week. So it's very important that I show you the tropics, because this is going to have an effect on our weather, and we'll continue to see this tropical moisture interacting with our forecast, our weather pattern over the next few weeks, it appears. So definitely something to keep in mind. Looking at the models here, very heavy rainfall expected over the next few days across parts of the southern plains. I looped this forward here in the GFS. Heavy rainfall today. Heavy rain. Well, actually, I skipped way ahead here. I'm on Saturday night. What am I doing here? But anyway, going back here, this afternoon, there's that heavy rain across parts of western and central Texas through central Oklahoma. We're going to see this rainfall continue to push northward here. That southerly flow pushing northward. That rain will expand to parts of the Dakotas by later today and tonight. And heading into the day on Friday, we have some rainfall, potentially some heavy rain, stretched out throughout the plain states here, and Texas and Oklahoma. Continuing to see that heavy rain potential setting up across the central part of Texas. That's really going to be the bullseye, looks like, for the heaviest rain setting up over the next few days. Friday night, that low pressure pushing off to the east. We're going to see this tropical moisture feeding in parts of the Ohio Valley, the Great Lakes, going to get in on some rain where it's actually needed. Ohio Valley, we have a moderate drought developing across parts of southern Indiana, and getting very dry out there. The rain will be certainly a good thing. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like we're going to see anything too heavy across that area for this first system, or for this system this weekend. Next week's a different story, but for the system this weekend, it looks like we'll see some lighter totals, but still some rain here. And heavy rain will continue to be a concern here across the southern plains here from Arkansas down through parts of Texas. That will continue to be a concern. And also, here comes Patricia, my friend. We have Patricia coming in. This moisture helping to feeding in later this weekend. Down across parts of Texas here. That will continue to mean the potential for some very heavy rain across parts of the Gulf Coast here, even parts of Louisiana, Mississippi could even get in on that rain as well with this tropical system here by Sunday night and Monday across parts of southeast Texas. Now, the main rain event for Texas looks to be taking place from today through the weekend. How much rain could fall? We could be looking at anywhere from 5 to 10 inches of rain or more. Looking at the the Weather Prediction Center, and unfortunately, I had their map up, but apparently I deleted it somehow. But let me get back to their weather prediction, their quantitative precipitation forecast, showing a potential for 10 inches of rain across parts of central Texas. That's very that's for today. Excuse me. Let me get to the 1 to 3 day forecast. You can see the potential for 10 inches of rain, and that's actually, there could be totals locally that's going to definitely exceed that. We get these this training effect where the rain just continues to set up. We get rainfall rates, just incredible rainfall rates, going to cause problems here. Even though we do have drought conditions here, you get this much rain in a short period of time, it doesn't matter. You're going to get flash flooding. It's going to be a big concern throughout the week and over the next few days. You saw that one day outlook has the potential for 5 inches of rain here. So, I mean, that's a lot of rain in just one day. So imagine getting all that, the same rainfall rates over the next few days. You get the idea. There's going to be some very heavy rain. You see 10 inches of rain here on the Weather Prediction Center map. There's going to be areas that see even higher totals than that. Here's what the GFS says when it comes to rain for the next few days. You can see the potential for, again, very heavy rain across central Texas here. Dallas, Fort Worth, they're going to get hammered with the rain here. I just want to keep that in mind. There could be quite a bit of flash flooding and road closures to worry about this weekend. I know the weekend's a terrible time to worry about that. You want to get out and enjoy the fall weather, but unfortunately, we're not going to have such great fall weather. We're going to have some very heavy rain here to worry about. GFS showing these brighter colors here. Just follow your color key map here, indicating potential for, well, let's see, 8, 10, 12 inches of rain. Yeah, a foot of rain could fall across parts of this area before the weekend is done. So that's definitely something that is worth watching over the next few days. That's going to be a big weather story over the next few days. But heading into next week, we have some very active weather to talk about. We have a storm system that looks to be setting up for the middle part of next week. I'll show you a couple different models to see what they're showing. Actually, the 12Z's coming in now, but unfortunately it's not done yet. So I'll show you what the 6Z run of the GFS is showing for that system next week. If I can get to the right thing here. Next week, we're going to start off with this system here, this tropical moisture across parts of Texas, Gulf Coast, Louisiana, Mississippi. This moisture is going to be feeding northward, and at the same time, we have a northern branch low pressure here across parts of Montana. This will be pushing eastward. I'm watching time as we head into Tuesday. Tropical moisture feeding in from the south, heading into parts of the Ohio Valley, eventually up towards the Great Lakes, and at the same time, we have this northern branch low pressure pushing in, and the two kind of eventually work together, and we're going to see the potential for some very heavy rain. Some thunderstorms will be possible, and on the northern side of this low pressure, as it continues to strengthen, we're going to see a healthy snowstorm potentially setting up for parts of southern Canada, And if the GFS verifies, there can be heavy snow across parts of far northern Minnesota. Not ruling that out. And behind the system, once it pushes through, we get some colder air working in. If the GFS, if the GFS is correct, there could be some decent snow showers. Lake effects certainly it looks to be across parts of the Great Lakes and New England later next week. Now the Canadian model, it's very similar, a little bit different though, not quite showing the cold air being as impressive. The trough does not dig as deep behind the system according to the Canadian, but it also has a very similar setup with the tropical moisture feeding in and sort of branch low pressure. A decent storm system setting up next week. Now, I've had a question, will we see severe weather? And I'm trying to focus on that. I really don't have an answer to that. I don't want to say one way or the other just yet because the models are still trying to diverge, or still trying to figure this out because we have a lot of moving parts. And anytime you have this tropical moisture interacting with the weather pattern, you're going to throw some, potentially a lot of issues in the models, and you really want to get some good, solid forecast runs before you can really make a call one way or the other if we're going to see severe weather. But certainly, we know we're going to see tropical moisture feeding northward, and we get a decent low pressure developing here. And we're going to see some instability. So yes, we're going to see some thunderstorms, I believe, on the warm side of this low. Now, will we see severe weather or not? We could see some decent wind fields, but again, that will be kind of dependent on gauging just how strong the low pressure can get. And this is a look at our lifted index combined here with our moisture parameters here. This is the lifted index. Basically gives us, it's just one of the different ways we can measure instability. Basically, we're measuring instability, or we're taking the difference between our parcel temperature and our environmental temperature at our 500 millibar level, the mid-levels of the atmosphere, and we calculate that. Anytime that number is in the negative, instability is in place. The lower it gets, the farther in the negatives it gets, the more instability you have. Anytime it's positive, you don't have instability, the atmosphere is stable. And you can see lifted index values here about -2, so nothing crazy, but definitely some thunderstorms look very possible. And yes, severe weather, it's not out of the question. It's something I will be watching over the next few days. And we're going to be watching the models today and tomorrow as I continue to try to get a better handle on how this will all take place. So definitely want to stay aware of the forecast next week. The middle part of next week is going to be quite active across the central and eastern United States. Now, once we get past that system, guess what? Weather pattern is alive. We have another storm system that looks like it could be developing here. This is actually for the middle of the week. I want to go forward here because I want to talk about once we get beyond this storm. So we have this storm for the middle of next week. We get a break, and then more tropical moisture feeding in from the tropics of Central America. And that looks to bring in potentially another storm system to track around Halloween, perhaps a day after. Models are going to diverge on the timing, but I do see enough signs that there could be a storm system brewing around Halloween, potentially the day after, potentially the day after that. The models will continue to go back and forth on the timing and certainly the strength of a potential storm system. Here's the GFS showing a decent low pressure here working through the south, pushing northward, bringing plenty of moisture into parts of the eastern U.S., so that will be something to watch, and showing a decent dip in a jet stream by Monday, November 2nd. But again, this is the operational run. Really, the ensembles would be a better way to look at this. They'll give you a more smoother look and less crazy extremes with each run. But anyway, that's the latest look at your forecast. We do finally have some interesting weather to track. I know you weather enthusiasts are very excited about some more active weather finally showing up. So again, we have the flooding threat for the next few days across the central, or well, especially the southern plains, Texas and Oklahoma, going to be hammered with very heavy rain through the weekend. And next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we're going to watch the storm system come together across the Midwest. We'll push to the east, potentially some cold air wrapped in behind it. Could bring some snow showers, parts of the Great Lakes and New England. Again, the depth of the cold air, how deep that trough gets behind the storm, how much cold air will work in. Again, that's obviously not going to really be able to gauge that until we get a little bit closer. And we'll be keeping you updated over the next few days about how this looks to all play out. So just keep it here to connect the weather. I'm going to keep close tabs on this. We'll have another update certainly within the next couple of days to show you how things are evolving. Well, that is the latest look at your video forecast. Thanks for watching. Have a great Thursday.